How's everyone doing? And back here again for our video. In this video, I'm talking about video rental stores and why I think that they were so important to so many people. I'm also going to be sharing my memories of going to my local video store. And if you have any great memories of going to your local video store, leave them down in the comment section below because I know that so many people have a lot of great memories of going to their local video stores. And I would love to hear what your memories are, so leave them in the comment section below. But the main reason why I think that video rental stores were so important is because they introduced so many movie fans to so many different types of films. Because when you went into a video store, they had so many different genres of films. They had horror movies, they had action films, they had comedies, dramas. I even know some video stores had foreign sections. And so I know that a lot of people were introduced to a lot of their favorite films at video rental stores. They saw their favorite movies for the first time. And a lot of video stores, of course they had the classic movies that everybody knows. Like they had the Halloween films, the Friday the 13th movies, Nightmare on Elm Street. But then they also had films that you really couldn't get anywhere else. Films like Evil Ed or Microwave Massacre. Films that are now getting Blu-ray releases and have now gained cult followings because a lot of people rented them from video rental stores. And it was an experience going into a video rental store. I'm sure a lot of people have memories of going to a video rental store on a Friday, rather, they had a bad week at work or a bad week at school. It really didn't matter. What really mattered at that point was walking into a video store and just seeing so many shelves of so many different movies. Any type of movie that you wanted to see, your video rental store probably had it. And I think that exposed so many people to so many different films, and it opened people's minds up to different types of movies. And that's really something that really cannot be replicated, with places like, Redbox or whatever. It can never match the experience of walking into a video rental store and just seeing so many different movies at your fingertips. And I also think that a lot of people took chances on movies that they didn't know if they were going to like, because they didn't have to pay a whole lot for them. It wasn't like going into like at a Walmart or any place that still sold VHS tapes and thinking, well, I've never seen this movie before, but the tape still kind of, because even during that time, VHS tapes were still the main format. It wasn't until 97, 98 when DVDs first started taking off and they started becoming the main format. So a lot of people were still buying VHSs. And, when people went to stores, the VHS tapes, they were still kind of expensive. And I know some people, they were thinking, well, I've never seen this movie before, but I don't know if I want to take a chance on it and spend this money. Whereas if you go to a video rental store, you could rent 2 or 3 movies and you could get maybe 2 movies that you've already seen, movies that you already know you're going to enjoy, and then you could take a chance on another movie that you've never seen, and you would be paying less than what you would be if you bought them, bought them at a store. And also, even if you didn't like that movie, it didn't matter because in 2 or 3 days, just take it back to the store and, you could grab another one that you knew that you would like. So I think that a lot of people took chances on films that they would not, they wouldn't necessarily take chances on, or they wouldn't normally take chances on if they were going out and buying movies. And I think because of that, a lot of people were exposed to a lot of great movies. They were introduced to a lot of great movies that they probably would not have been introduced to in any other way. And I think that that's the main reason why I think video rental stores are important to a lot of people. Because I remember going to my local video store and, I saw so many great movies that I would have never thought to take chances on until, I saw them at the store and thought, well, I'm going to pick up 3 movies for these next few days. Why not I check this movie out? And a lot of my favorite horror movies that I've seen, I rented for the first time from video rental shops or from my local video rental store. I only had one video rental store, but just going there, I was able to see a lot of great movies, and it was just a really great experience for me, and it was a really great time. Now, unfortunately, I didn't start going to a video rental store until I want to say the early 2000s. So I started going back when it was kind of the beginning of the end. I know that there were still video rental stores, going up to 2006, 7. They stayed on for a while, especially when DVDs started getting popular and they started bringing DVDs in. And I know that there are still some video rental stores around, but I started going at sort of the beginning of the end of it. So I wasn't around when video rental stores were first starting to get big. So I don't know what the experience of first walking into a video store for, the first time it was built and the first time that people have ever seen that before. But actually the first place I ever rented videotapes from actually wasn't from a video rental store. The first place I ever rented videos from was from a small independently owned local convenience store at the end of my street called the Dilly Dally. And the Dilly Dally was, like I said, it was a small independently owned convenience store, and it was right down the street from my house. Like I could literally walk out my front door, and within about a minute of walking down my sidewalk, I was there. It was that close. And I want to say this was maybe the mid to late 90s. I want to say it was right at the end of the 90s. I remember walking in, to the Dilly Dally, and they sold, stuff that every other convenience store sold. Like they sold beer, they sold soda, canned goods. They sold ice cream, candy, and then right as you walked into the door, there was a little table sitting over on the left side, and they had a little shelf of videos to rent. And it was just one small shelf, so they really didn't have a large selection of tapes. But I remember the first VHS tape I rented there, and I actually have it. I don't have the actual the actual tape that I rented because, like I said, this was in the mid 90s. But I did. But I do have a copy of the first tape that I rented there, and that was The Adventures of Pinocchio, starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And I remember the first time I saw this sitting on the shelf and seeing this. When I first saw this, I didn't know what this type of cover was called. Now of course when I'm older, I know it's called a lenticular cover. But back then I was just looking at this and thinking, wow, that's really cool. And I knew the story of Pinocchio, and so I rented this, and I still enjoy this. I mean, I actually picked this up at a local secondhand store because I just like the I have a lot of memories of seeing this cover for it. I also have another copy of it without that cover, but that was the first VHS tape I ever rented, and like I said, it was from a small independent convenience store at the end of my street. And then I want to say, at the beginning of the 2000s, they got rid of that section, that shelf, and then we got our first video store was opened up in my town, and the first video store that opened up in my town was a movie gallery. And like I said, this was the first time I'd ever seen a video rental shop. And I remember seeing it sitting there, and I think I was with my mom, and I was like, Mom, can we stop at that movie store? And so we stopped there, and I remember walking in, and they just had so many tapes. Like I remember when you first walked in, there was the cash register was right over here on this side, and right in front of you on the wall was nothing but tapes in front of you, and I believe that those were the new releases. And then on the left side, when you first walk in, I want to say there was 4 or 5 shelves of nothing but tapes going down to the end of the the store, and then there was a step up, and then there was tapes along the wall going down. And I believe that up there was the family and the kids movies were up there. I remember a lot of I remember seeing Pre-Hysteria there. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, the movie with the kids and the dinosaurs. I remember seeing that movie when I was really young. But I believe it was the third shelf down was the horror section. And I had never seen that many horror movies in one place. And I was just blown away. And I saw so many movies for the first time there. I saw the Halloween sequels. I had already seen the first Halloween, but I remember seeing all the Halloween sequels, the Friday the 13th movies. I saw Terror Train, one of my favorite slasher films. I saw Death Mask. I saw so many great horror movies. You know, I rented so many great horror movies from there, and I also rented a few family films and a few comedies as well. But I mostly just stuck to horror because I kind of felt like you could probably find comedy movies in other places. Like I remember going to Walmart and you could find more comedy movies than you could horror films. And I think that Movie Gallery was like the first place that I found where there was so many horror movies, and I rented a lot of them there. I remember renting the Jack Frost movies there. I actually have kind of a funny story about Jack Frost 2. See, they used to have a shelf of tapes that you could buy, and they had a copy of Jack Frost 2 with the lenticular cover on the front. The VHS tape that for a while was super expensive and super rare. And we bought it brand new, factory sealed. And when I got it in the car and I opened it, it had a different tape in it. I don't remember what the tape was, but it wasn't Jack Frost 2. And I remember being so bummed about it because, when I first saw that, I actually thought that it was a sequel to the Michael Keaton Family movie. I didn't know that they had already made a Jack Frost horror movie. So when we saw this, even my mom was like, "Oh, why would they make a horror movie out of that? That's such a nice family movie." Of course, later on, I ended up renting the first Jack Frost movie and realizing, oh, okay, so they made a horror version of Jack Frost before they made the Michael Keaton movie. But I remember getting Jack Frost 2 and opening it up and seeing a different tape in it and being really upset. And I showed my mom, and she just walked right in and she got a copy of Jack Frost 2 to rent. So I was really upset about that. But now, years later, I remember thinking, man, I should have kept the cover at least, because I remember when that tape was going for a ton of money. It was really, really expensive, and the DVDs were super expensive now. Now, of course, that Vinegar Syndrome released the Blu-ray of the first movie. The second movie is really not that expensive on DVD anymore. I don't know about the tapes, but I remember the tapes got really expensive, and I always have that memory of going into Movie Gallery, getting a sealed VHS of Jack Frost 2, and it having another tape in it. I don't know how that happened, but I have a lot of really great memories, of going in there and just renting so many different movies. And unfortunately, when Movie Gallery closed down, it was really sad. Because it was a place that I loved going. I believe it closed down, I want to say 2004, 2005-ish was when it actually closed. And they had a sale they were selling off all their movies. And I do remember, trying to figure out what movies to buy. And I ended up only buying 4 movies from there. I'm not sure why. I could have gotten a lot more, but at that point, I was already buying movies. Like I remember FYE was open at the mall, and so I was able to get a lot of movies on DVD or on VHS that I was renting. So I was already buying the Halloween movies and the Friday the 13th movies. So there really wasn't that many horror movies that I wanted to buy there. When I could just go to FYE and buy them brand new. So but I did get 4 movies there, and I thought I'd show them off to you guys. They are all still in their classic cut box rental cases, which I know a lot of VHS collectors, they hate cut boxes. I like them because they remind me of going to my local video rental store. And of course, if I find a VHS, like a cool horror movie on VHS, I want it to be, complete. But if I do see one in a cut box, and if I just want to see the movie enough, I'll pick it up. But these are the 4 VHS tapes that I ended up saving. And the first one, or that I ended up buying from Movie Gallery. And the first one is one that I've actually talked about. I did a review of this movie, and I really enjoy it. But it's The River Pirates. This is just a nice family movie. It's a coming of age movie, I think. It's definitely not for everyone, but I do enjoy it. If you guys want to know more about it, you can see my review, or you can watch it online. Actually, it's on YouTube. Now, the next one, this is a great full moon. Well, not full moon. It's Moonbeam is what it was called. That was a Full Moon's family movie. the branch that Full Moon released family films on. But another one is Remote, which is kind of a Home Alone ripoff in kind of a way. Basically, there's these burglars that are trying to get into this house, and this kid uses these inventions that he created and all these toy cars and toy planes and stuff, and he uses that to fight the burglars. It's actually a pretty fun movie, and I did enjoy a lot of Full Moon or Moonbeam's family films. Like I said, I really enjoyed Pre-Hysteria. I really enjoyed that one growing up. Now, this one is another kind of a Home Alone ripoff, and this one's kind of a really cheesy family movie. It's called Boys Will Be Boys. Like I said, classic VHS. This one's got John Voight in it and Randy Travis, Julie Haggerty. It's just kind of a, like I said, a cheesy kid movie. And the last one is the only one that I guess you could call a horror movie. It's not really a horror movie, but it's one I don't really hear a lot of people talk about. It's a killer snake movie called Venomous, which is basically about these rattlesnakes that have this virus in them where if they bite you, you die. And this stars Treat Williams, and I remember this being pretty entertaining. But yeah, those were the only tapes that I have. For some reason, a lot of these tapes have I'll show this right here. A lot of these tapes have video update stickers on them, and I think the reason why is because they got a lot of their tapes probably from other video stores like Video Update. The River Pirates has a King Video right there. Because I noted a lot of video stores at that point were closing down. I didn't know that then, but I knew that, in the, around 2003, 2004, a lot of them were closing down, and some of the bigger ones were getting tapes from other stores. So I think that's what happened. I will say I do love the classic, like right here, you got the classic family sticker right there. I just love the classic stickers, the family stickers, the horror stickers. It just brings back memories every time I see them. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to do a video talking about video rental stores and talk about why I think they were so important to a lot of people and why I still think they are important because, I know that Redbox, kind of took over, as far as, Blockbuster, sorry. I go to, I work at Big Lots and then I go to Best Buy. Sometimes when I go to Best Buy, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to Big Lots. No, I'm going to Best Buy. Blockbuster. There's too many companies that start with the letter B. Too many stores. What I meant to say was, because I remember, Redbox was kind of like the beginning of the end for Blockbuster and other bigger chain stores like Movie Gallery. I remember when they closed down, and then we ended up getting a Movie Stars in town. In a different area of the town. It was actually right across the street from where Movie Gallery used to be. I never went to Movie Stars because, like I said, I was always going to FYE and buying movies, so I really didn't feel the need to go back to a video rental store. And at that point, I didn't realize that video rental stores were going out. I just thought that Movie Gallery just went out of business, but now we had a Movie Stars, and that was going to be around for years. And by years, I meant, 3, 4 maybe even 2 or 3 years, I think, was probably how long Movie Star stayed. It was in the mid 2000s, and it didn't last very long. They did have another store next to it called Replay, which sold used DVDs and used video games. And I did go in there and I did buy some used DVDs and stuff. But I never went into Movie Stars. But what I was saying was, I know that places like Redbox sort of took over, and then people didn't have to go to a store to rent movies. They could just go right outside of Kroger, but, that was never the same as going into an actual video rental store and having an experience. It was the experience of, you had a bad day or you had a bad week and you just wanted to sit down, relax, and watch movies. And so you went off to your favorite rental store. If you had a family, if you had kids, it was like it was an experience. It was going, getting your kids into the car, driving them over to your local video rental store, and then picking out 3 or 4 movies to watch over the weekend. It was something that people look forward to. and unfortunately, that doesn't exist anymore. I know that there are still some Blockbusters around. I forget what part of the world some of them are still open. But, unfortunately, video rental stores are, they're a thing of the past. But, like I said, going to Redbox or even going to a movie store and buying movies still doesn't feel like the same as going and renting movies from your local video rental shop. But let me know in the comments down below if you have any great memories of going to your local video rental store and renting movies. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people who were, born in the 90s or even before that. I know you all have a lot of great memories. And for those of you who unfortunately were not alive when video rental stores were around, I'm sure y'all don't really understand why so many people enjoy them. Like, I know that there's a lot of people who are like that. A lot of younger people that, they think everything that was around before the year 2000 is obsolete and is stupid and dumb, and they just don't get it. But, they don't have to get it. We know how great it was, and we're going to continue to have great memories of going to video rental stores, and we're still going to get excited if we go down to like a Goodwill or a secondhand store and we find a VHS from a local video store we used to go to. It might still have the sticker on it, might still have the horse sticker or the family sticker, or maybe even have a sticker of the name of your local video store. And we're still going to get excited, and we may even pick up that tape just because of nostalgia. And that's what's great about video rental stores, is that it was something so big and something so, it was something that had so much nostalgia for so many people. So if you have any great memories of your local video rental store, leave it down in the comments below and let me know what video rental store you went to. Like I said, I went to a movie gallery. I know a lot of people are going to say Blockbuster. I also had a Hollywood Video near me. I never rented movies from there because it wasn't in my town where I could just drive to it or walk to it. But it was kind of out there, so I never rented tapes from there. And there were a few Blockbusters around me, but I never really went to those, mostly because I had a movie gallery, so close to me. But let me know down in the comments, what are your video store memories? And let me know the name of your store and anything else. Did you become friends with the people who worked there? Because I know a lot of people who worked at video rental shops loved movies and loved being around them. And I know that that's something else that, is missing from, movie stores like FYE or Best Buy, is the people that are working there are just working there. They're just doing it as a job. Whereas if you go to a video rental store, you can meet the people there and you knew that they liked working at a video rental store because they love movies. And you could become friends with, some people became friends with them. And that's another thing that was great. And that's another thing that's missing from, going to a big place and buying movies now is the communication and the friendships that you make going into the stores. Let me know in the comments down below if you became friends with anybody who worked, any employees who worked at your local video store, and just let me know anything about video rental stores you want to tell me. So anyway, guys, thanks everybody for watching. As always, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook or Twitter, I'll leave links down below. Let me know down in the comments about your local video store. And this was just kind of a spur of the moment. I wanted to do a video just talking about my experience of going to a video rental store, and then I just wanted to talk about video rental stores in general and why I think that they were so important to so many people, and I'm glad to finally do that. So like I said, leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys all have a great Monday.